another night, another TV show. Oh, getting in the habit of this. Oh my god. There'll probably be more of these, but I figured I'd just start with this because I'm doing this because I'm reviewing the first season, only the first season of a show called Banshee. Now, I'm late to the party on this show because it's like, it originally premiered, I think, like 8 years ago. So, I had heard about it back then, but I didn't have Cinemax back then. It was a Cinemax show, and I know your initial thought, is it softcore porn? No, it's not. Apparently, at one point, Cinemax was trying to do original programming the same way that HBO does, and basically, it's owned by HBO, so it basically just took the shows that HBO thought were good, but didn't really want themselves. Kind of like their C-list shit. So, I heard about this show because I listened to a show called The Bonfire, and Big J. Ogerson kept talking about it. Plus, it was recommended by my friend Chelsea. And they both gave good reviews of it. Big J. Ogerson talks about how, like, the sex scenes in the show are very graphic and realistic looking, and points out that, you know, it's Cinemax, so Cinemax is known for softcore porn. The sex scenes in the show look like softcore porn, and he wasn't wrong. There's a lot of sex scenes, and they are very realistic. There's a scene where a dude is going down on his wife, and I mean, it's acting, so he's probably not actually eating her pussy, but where his face is compared to her body, like, he has to feel the warmth of her pussy on his chin. There's no way he couldn't, because his face is just there. She's completely naked, and his face is just there. And I know there's probably some Hollywood shit where there's like a sheet of cloth covering, but I mean, his face is there. Alright? It's actually weirder that he's not eating her pussy, because it just means his face is just in her pussy and he's not doing anything to it. And she's probably, and like I said, she probably got some like weird little like covering piece of cloth over it. And it's just like, oh my god. This makes it really awkward. But getting to the point. What is the show about, you might ask? Okay. Well, the show actually stars someone I'm familiar with. It stars the actor Anthony Starr, who you might know from the show The Boys, which I'm a big fan of. I'm a big fan of him in that show. And I like him in this show, too. It starts with him getting out of prison. Like, that's literally the first scene is him walking out of prison. We have no idea what this man's name is. And I now realize that in the entire first season, we never get what his name is. They never say it. And that's weird. Kinda. He gets out of jail. The first 5 minutes of the show are insane and set the tone for the entire series. Because it's just insane. I've never seen a show go from 0 to 60 so goddamn quickly. He gets out of jail. This all happens within like the first like fucking 2 minutes. He gets out of jail, steals a car, drives to a fucking bar to get a drink. There he sees a woman working at the bar who's very attractive, and she looks at... There's a common theme in this show. Every woman looks at him like they want to fuck him because they do. Now, it's understandable Anthony Starr is actually a very handsome man. So I kind of get it, but it's a little ridiculous. Like, literally, it doesn't take anything more than a woman to look at him with utter lust in her eyes. He looks back, and the next thing you know, They are just fucking. That's it. He's just fucking them. That's exactly what happens here. This woman looks at him. He looks at her. Next thing you know, you see him in a back room, and he's just fucking her. And she's completely naked, and she's got great tits. It's great. It's great. Then he drives to some random spot where it's like a salon that's run by an Asian cross-dresser. Maybe they're transgendered. I don't know. I don't want to make assumptions, but by all appearances, it's a cisgendered male who dresses up like a woman, but he's clearly gay. I think that's it. I think he's just a gay cross-dresser. That's what I'm going with, because that's what it appears to be to me. But like I said, I don't want to classify without confirmation. So our mystery protagonist walks to this guy's salon and walks into his back room. It appears that the guy who runs the salon, who we find out later, I forget where we find out, but we find out his name is Job. He obviously recognizes this man, follows him to the back room. Man starts trashing his shit because he wants to know something that Job knows. Job doesn't want to tell him, but he keeps trashing shit until Job tells him. Job then relents and tells him what he wants to know and tells him to get out. So he takes the information and he leaves. As he's leaving, he walks out and he sees that he's being followed by two very scary looking dudes. At first I thought they might be cops, but then they start chasing him, and then after he crashes his car, they shoot at him, which is very uncop-like behavior, especially in public. They shoot at him as he's trying to run away from them, and their shooting, they hit like the driver of one of these double-decker buses, which causes it to skid out and crash, and it just starts sliding down the street. This has all just happened. This is all like the first 5 minutes of the show. He's broken out of jail, stolen a car, fucked a random woman, and now he's in a gunfight in the middle of the street. It's insane. He then steals a motorcycle, drives away, drives all the way to fucking Pennsylvania on the motorcycle, and drives to a place called Banshee. There is no actual place called Banshee in Pennsylvania. It's a made-up town, but it's Banshee, Pennsylvania. It must be somewhere out in the boondocks of Pennsylvania, because it looks like a small town. It's right near Amish country. They typically live out in the middle of nowhere. They don't like modern technology, so that's just not their thing. Anywho, he drives out to this place called Banshee. You can tell this guy has had some problems from his time in prison, and it looks like he's looking for somebody. He is looking for somebody. He's looking for a woman. Another attractive woman. This woman appears to be married and have 2 kids, and she's going by the name Carrie Hopewell. But her real name is Anastasia. She and our mystery protagonist have a previous relationship where they were lovers, and they were also criminals. They were thieves. They stole something from a crime boss that goes by the name of Rabbit. He's some Ukrainian crime boss named Rabbit. They stole like a bunch of diamonds from him, and then but Rabbit must have known, because they ended up being chased by the cops, and so the woman could get away with the diamonds. So Anna could get away with the diamonds. Our mystery protagonist ended up getting himself caught, and he ended up being put in jail for 15 years. But he never gave her up. Or how they could find her. But even he didn't know where to find her initially. He needed Job's help to do it, so whatever. He makes contact with Anastasia, or Anna or Carrie or whatever the fuck you wanted to call her, and he finds out that she's married, she has 2 kids, and she also she says she doesn't have the diamonds anymore. So he doesn't get he just spent 15 years in prison. Now he comes out, doesn't get his girl, he doesn't even get his share of the diamonds, doesn't get anything. So he just goes to a bar where he's fucking pissed, understandably so, and he starts talking to the guy who owns and runs the bar. He's this ex-boxer named Sugar, who also apparently at one point also did time because he mentions he's an ex-con. While they're talking, there's another guy at the bar. Apparently he's a cop who came to town to become the town's new sheriff. While they're all talking, 2 crooks come in and rob the bar. Sugar is content to just pay them off and get them out. The sheriff, the new gonna-be sheriff named Lucas Hood, steps in, and they pull guns at each other. That's where mystery steps between them and is just like, hey, come on, this is stupid. He's like, just let them take the money and we can all be about our business. Lucas Hood won't hear it. They get into a gunfight. Hood gets shot. Our mystery protagonist steps in and kills the 2 crooks. But it's just like, now what do they do? Because now they have 3 dead bodies, one of them a cop who's supposed to be the new town sheriff. They end up burying the bodies, which I don't know why you couldn't just call the cops for this. It's not like it's your fault. Even if you give shit to the ex-con who killed the 2 crooks, it's like they had just killed the sheriff. I mean, would you really fault the guy for that? But for some reason they decide to bury the bodies, and while they're burying the bodies, Lucas Hood gets a phone call and they find out that he's supposed to come. He's an out-of-towner who came to Banshee to become the new town sheriff, but nobody knows who he is because he's from out of town. They don't know what he looks like. They don't know anything about him, which just seems very, very strange. So our crook decides he's going to now adopt the identity of this cop, Lucas Hood, because he's sticking around in town. Because one of the things he realizes that while he was seeing his now ex's girlfriend's new family, he notices that his ex's daughter seems to be a little older. Like, she said that she's only 13 years old, and he mentions that she looks older than that, indicating what we later get confirmation of is that his ex's daughter is in fact his daughter. So now he's posing as Sheriff Lucas Hood. He meets the mayor, gets confirmed as the sheriff. He finds out that the police department is a retrofitted old Cadillac shop, and there the other 3 cops are in town working. He finds out that the reason they got an out-of-town sheriff is because there's a local crime boss named Kai Proctor, who's this former Amish guy who was shunned from the Amish community and became basically the town's local local crime boss. The reason they got an out-of-town sheriff is because Kai Proctor is very good at buying off cops in towns. They decide to get a completely neutral party who Kai doesn't know to take over the police department. So now Lucas has taken on the identity of a cop. He's an ex-con who just got out of prison after 15 years. Taking on the identity of a cop. He has his friend Job make a fake identity for him basically merging his on paper, at least electronically, merging his identity with this now dead cop's, basically who he has to erase too in case anybody tries to look more into him. Um, oh, and also those two scary guys that got into a gunfight with the now Lucas Hood protagonist. Um, they went after Job next to ask where he went, and they start questioning him and threatening him. And Joe's like, "All right, I'll tell you, but I have to go into the back and get something. That's where the information's being kept." And they just let him do it, and he just walks out the back door and then blows his place up. Like, these guys suck as criminals. Oh yeah, and when Hood meets his new deputies, he finds out that one of them is an older guy who was supposed to become the new sheriff, that everybody thought was going to become the new sheriff, but because the mayor wanted an out-of-towner, they didn't choose him, and now he's pissed that he has this guy in his way. Oh yeah, and one of the cops is a woman. I think her name is Siobhan. Yeah, Siobhan Kelly. The older deputy is named Brock Lotus, and there's a black deputy named Emmett Yonners. And Deputy Lotus is not happy with this new situation. He makes it very clear that he's not happy that some out-of-towner is taking a job that he believes is supposed to be his. They meet Kai Proctor at one point. There's some guys who are fucking with these Amish dudes, and Sheriff Hood steps in and gets into a fight with he fights like 4 dudes at once. Oh shit, I'm already drawing a blank here on everything. But it's Kai Proctor comes in and stops the fight, and that's where you find out he's Amish, and then he's shunned from his community because his father won't talk to him. And he later beats the shit out of one of the guys who was harassing his father, and then makes him swallow his own teeth and shit. And then during it, some nightly gala thing, he was hosting the new sheriff. The guy that Kai beat up shows up, he hits the sheriff over the head, and then starts firing a gun at the party and threatens to kill Kai, at which point the sheriff then shoots the guy and kills him because I guess he didn't hit him hard enough. And then they later have a wake for this guy where his brothers almost get into a fight with the sheriff, and Sugar has to step in. Oh, and there's the dead hillbilly who got fucking killed had a ridiculously out of his league hot wife who seems to be very confrontational to Hood at first, but then she starts fucking him too, because every hot woman in this town starts fucking him. He's hot ex. They fuck again at some point. There's this hot Amish chick who doesn't really like her people's culture, who you find out later is Kai Proctor's niece. She fucks Hood several times, and they meet much the same way the chick he in the bar met. They just sort of look at it. She was at the wake, and she just sort of looks at him like she wants to fuck him, and he looks at her, and they just start fucking. And then, yeah, I mentioned that he fucked the widow. he hasn't fucked the hot cop yet, but I'm sure that's going to happen. There's an episode where they're talking, and she basically insinuates that she would like to fuck him. She's like, if you're gonna stay the night, I wish it wouldn't be for like work or something like that. It's like, wow, but she is a hot cop. You definitely fuck her. On top of there being an Amish community, there's also a Native American community. I don't know where these two things tend to coexist. They might, but I don't usually see it. The chief of the tribe has a deal with Kai Proctor where they're building a new hotel and casino. But the chief's son, who's going to take his place someday, is not happy with having Kai in the arrangement. He doesn't like that the tribe will be sharing their profits, especially with a white guy. But his father pushes it forward. And but the old chief is sick and he's dying. And at some point, his you just see his son, but at some point, as he's dying, his daughter, the family's called the Long Shadows. His daughter shows up, and surprise, surprise, she's smoking hot too. I wonder if Hood will fuck her at some point. I'm gonna guess yes. Just everything in this show is crazy. There's kind of like these little like single serving story episodes, but there's a lot of connection to what's going on. You find out that Anna has been preparing for her to get caught by Rabbit at some point, so she's been like learning to fight in various different ways, and she's gotten really tough and good. And there's this episode where they almost get attacked, where she almost gets raped by a group of bikers, and it's just like these group of bikers come to town, they assault two people, almost rape a woman. One gets shot in the process of trying to rape a woman. They then terrorize this town fair that's going on, where they assault and severely injure several people. And so Hood finds out where they are and beats the living shit out of all of them. And then by this point, Job has joined him in Banshee. He's made it all the way to fucking Banshee, and he's joined him there to help him, pull off whatever crimes he's trying to pull off. So he has Job transport these unconscious bikers to another place where they have warrants. I'm like, why don't you just take them in here? They gotta have warrants by now. How many crimes have they committed in just the past couple of days? That's a problem with the show. There's a lot of plot holes. There's a lot of leaps in logic that don't make sense. Like, why did somebody do this? Why weren't they affected by this? Blah, blah, blah. But it's like, if this isn't really a thinking man's show. This show is just pure. This is like the last holdout of the fucking machismo action era of the 80s and 90s, where it was just ridiculous violence and not very skilled actors who thought they were skilled actors, and lots of nudity and lots of sex, and I mean, it's just a fucking insane show. It's an insane show. I don't know how to describe it any other way. And, Anna starts giving up Hood to her father. She tries to return the diamonds to her father to get him to back off, but that's not enough. He wants Hood, so she tries to hand him over Hood, but that doesn't work out because Job ends up saving him. And then she tries to give Hood the diamonds to get him to leave, but he won't do that. because he's figured out that Anna's oldest child, or daughter, Deva, is his child, and she confirms that. And her husband is figuring out that something weird is going on. And at one point, there's some fucking gunmen take the high school hostage, and fucking Hood just goes in and basically shoots them both, shoots the two guys who are the hostage takers. And there's an FBI agent that shows up in town at one point because they almost get Kai Proctor on something, but he helps Hood with some situation, so Hood helps him back by getting rid of evidence that could incriminate him. And the FBI agent just sticks around, and he's now, it's like there's constantly all these things that are just becoming a thorn in his side, and you're like, how is this guy's fucking, he's drawing so much attention to himself that he doesn't need to. How is his obviously fake ass bad story not falling apart? It's just insane. And at one point, Rabbit does show up in town, and he basically blows up Anna's story to the point where her family finds out that she's lying. She's lied about who she is and who her father is, but they still don't even get the full story. But, you know, her son gets kidnapped, and her son has very bad asthma. Her father reveals to both Anna's husband and her daughter, like, you know, I'm her father and blah 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 and all this shit, and they just know that she's a liar now. And the husband suspects something is going on with Hood too, because they did fuck at one point. And I mean Anna and Hood, not Anna's husband and Hood. That would be weird. But and then Hood trades himself for a kid. And he almost gets killed by Rabbit, but then Anna and Sugar and Job, they team up with the deputies, and they end up going in and killing all his men and killing all of Rabbit's men and saving Hood. And Anna shoots Rabbit, but she shoots him like 3 times, but somehow he manages to get away. It's, I don't know. And we get background into fucking Hood's time in prison, which is not pleasant because Sugar had him mentally and physically tortured. And there's like a fucking gay albino dude who fucking tortures Hood and almost gets him to like suck his dick and everything. But he ends up killing that guy. It's so nuts. Oh yeah, while that was going on, at one point there's an episode where he has to arrest a fucking MMA fighter who raped and assaulted a woman at the Indian casino, and instead of just arresting him like he's supposed to, he like fucking gets into a fucking fist fight with the guy, and they get into this violent fight, and the video of it ends up on YouTube, and it's just like, well, this is gonna be bad. And Hood is constantly getting, apparently the real Hood had an estranged son, and his estranged son is now trying to make contact, not knowing his father's dead, and like the fake Hood here is just now ignoring the calls, hoping they'll go away, but guess what? They're not. And he eventually sees that YouTube video online, so it's like, oh, that can't be good because it has it listed as, you know, Sheriff Lucas Hood. And After the Chief Longshadow dies, and like I said, his smoking hot daughter shows up, the son, who does not like Kai Proctor, becomes the chief, and he tries to cut Kai out of the deal, and things go bad for them. He tries to cut Kai out of the deal, so Kai basically gets all the construction workers that are working on the hotel to leave. What is the son's name? Let me look this up. The daughter's name is Nola Longshadow. The son's name is, where the fuck is it? Is Alex Longshadow. So Alex Longshadow tries to have Kai killed, and it doesn't work out because Kai has this weird, like, crazy looking, creepy assistant who's doesn't seem to have qualms killing people. He's kind of like his Smithers if Smithers was a violent psychopath. Smithers from The Simpsons, Mr. Burns' personal assistant there. That's what he kind of reminds me of. Smithers if he was a violent psychopath. That hot Amish chick, who I think I mentioned that she was Kai's niece. We find out later. After she gets shunned, she starts living with Kai, but then Kai finds out that she fucked Hood at one point, and him and Hood aren't really on good terms anymore, and he gets super angry about it, and he throws her to the bed and pushes and holds her down on the bed, and at one point he's so close to her, they give each other this weird look, and you see it Kai's kind of freaked out, and you realize oh dude, you got turned on by your fucking niece. And it's she is hot, but she's still your fucking niece, and you can see he's not he's having not uncle thoughts about her, and you can see that she kind of realizes it too, and she might be playing it to her advantage maybe, or she might just like it because now she's becoming his protege of sorts. And at one point, they're under the control of the FBI. The situation where the kid gets kidnapped is so fucking crazy to me, because Hood turns in his badge because he won't listen to the FBI, who have taken over the case because it's a missing kid case. And that doesn't raise any red flags. They don't look into him more. They don't. Oh shit. What was I talking about? When they kidnapped the kid, the night after the kidnapping, that's when Rabbit shows up at Anna or Carrie's house. And it's why is the FBI not there? A child has been kidnapped. The first thing you would think of is that kidnappers might make contact with the family of the kidnapped child. Therefore, you think the FBI would be there to monitor the phone call. Why are they not there? It's insane. There's no way Rabbit should have just been able to walk in and walk out. Oh yeah, I think I mentioned that Kai wanted to fuck his niece, and she seemed to be into it. She becomes the protege, and the whole law enforcement situation is just crazy. I think. Oh yeah, and fucking Hood is still trying to pull off heists. He tries to rob a museum at one point, and it goes bad. It's just dude, what are you fucking doing? And then they're also planning to rob the fucking casino. Hood, Sugar, and Job. After the whole debacle with her father, Anna's family, and finding out that she's lying about everything, Anna's family leaves. Somehow this whole situation does not expose Hood at all. I don't understand how. Though at the end, like I said, Hood, the real Hood's estranged son, sees the video of fake Hood fighting an MMA fighter with his name in the title. They find the dead bodies of Hood, of the real Hood, and the two crooks that he got into a confrontation with. It's just like everything's gonna come to a head, and they still have the FBI running around, and people kind of begrudgingly respect Hood, but that's about it in the various masks that academia gives you. What am I talking about? I don't know what I just said. Holy shit, I'm fucking tired. Oh my god. So yeah, a bunch of shit is going on. There's conflict between the Native American people and fucking Kai Proctor, and that's gonna come to a head. The FBI's in town, and that's a problem. The dead bodies that Sugar and Hood hid have now been exposed. The real Hood's son is aware that somebody's posing as his dad. That can't be fucking good. Carrie / Anna's whole life, or at least the fact that she's living some sort of fake life, has been exposed, and she loses her family as a result, and they're all pissed at her. Oh, and another thing that doesn't make sense. In the last episode of the season, you see the mayor who is having in an earlier episode you saw was having problems with his wife because he's this younger mayor who I guess he's the son of like the former mayor or something like that, who hates Kai Proctor, and his whole focus is to try to bring him down, but he can't figure out a way to do it. Oh shit, sorry. Oh yeah, he was having the young mayor is having problems with his wife. He's like talking on the phone to his wife, but he's talking into the now shut down fucking construction site of the hotel / casino that the fucking Native American tribe is running, and that Kai Proctor is funding. And after this back and forth with the Native American folks, Kai, who promised the Long Shadow father that he wouldn't kill his son, it looks like, but they're about to have some sort of fight, so let's see if before the fight happens, something else happens, and it looks like somebody else is... Wait, what am I talking about again? God damn it. So the mayor's in this now abandoned construction site. I don't know why he's there or how he even got in there. I mean, this is private fucking property, but he's just in there talking about Kai Proctor. Kai shows up with his niece from a safe distance to watch the building. He says, he's like, we had a deal to go in on this, and now he's trying to pull out. And I said, I let him know that he can't just do that. And so now, the young chief is basically without any hope in the world, except for maybe his sister, who looks like she definitely knows what she's doing. So he's in there on his private property. Kai then has his niece dial a number on a cell phone, which activates a bomb that's in the building, and then he blows up the building. He doesn't realize the mayor is there, so he's just killed the mayor too. But here's the funny thing. It's like, okay, this whole thing was over this hotel casino because you both want it built so you can start collecting money. But it's like, you just blew it up. So, like, what? That doesn't make any sense. Why would you blow it up? Oh, shit. So, but the weird thing is, it's like, if this whole argument was over this hotel casino, why would you blow it up? It's one thing to stop the work just to fucks with the Long Shadow family, but then to blow up the building, it's like, well, now you're back at square one and things could be even worse than before. It's like, that doesn't make any sense. Alright, I gotta wrap this up. I'm just fucking out of it. I'm not making any sense. Um, in summation, this is a crazy show, but I fucking love it. It's maybe the most ridiculous show I've ever seen, but I fucking love it. I can't wait to see the next season, which gets even more violent, and watch Hood fuck even hotter chicks. Maybe he'll fuck that hot sheriff's deputy, and like, I. How is he going to avoid? It's amazing that he still has this secret identity intact. Like, how the fuck is he going to avoid what's coming? It just doesn't make any sense. But it looks like he's going to, so. Ugh. It's the most ridiculous show I've ever seen, and I fucking love it. And you should watch it if you haven't. You'll fucking love it. It's a great show. Oh my god, this is terrible. I'm so sorry I was falling in and out of this. I literally forget what I'm talking about while I'm talking about it. That's the whole point of this, the 2 tired reviews, to see if I can actually make it through. One of these days I expect to just pass the fuck out right in the middle, and I'll have like a fucking 2-hour long video of me just sleeping like an idiot. I'm sorry, I'm just rambling now. Banshee, good show. 2 thumbs up. Can't wait to watch season 2 and see how things get even fucking crazier without, fucking our criminal protagonist actually having to face consequences for any of the shit he's done. Because he is nuts. He's an angry motherfucker who likes to fuck hot chicks and beat the shit out of people. But, yeah. That's it. Banshee, good show. Can't wait for season 2. Hopefully I'll do a more coherent review of that, but, I'm not holding my breath. We'll see. Till then, later.